Hi, I'm Lori.
Hello, I'm Andrew.
And this is the recap for, what's today's date? July 29th, 2015 for level 2 at Wednesday Night Hop. And the topic of the class is Spin Me Right Round Baby, Keeping Balance, Looking Cool. Yes, I made up that title. Anywho, this is what we did. First we talked about posture. We talked about making sure that your, chest isn't caved in. This is a good, Silicon Valley posture thing going on. We're going to go ahead and take those shoulder blades and pull it back. Just kind of roll your shoulders back and let them sit. You might also think about it as your chest slightly lifted, not really lifted, that's arched, but slightly lifted, or your heart as open, which I know some yoga people like to do. Your heart is open. But just kind of keep yourself upright. You want to make sure that your knees are not locked. When you lock your knees, your weight goes to the back of the heels, and that's not where we want it. So we want to make sure that they're unlocked. I wouldn't say really bent, but just a little unlocked, so they're a little bit flexible. And your weight is going to be moved towards the ball of your feet. Yes, and so that reduces the amount of friction on the floor, and you'll be able to turn. And so one balancing exercise you should do at home, just to get used to using those strengthening, stabilizing muscles inside your ankles, is to move from one foot to the other with this idea in mind. So keeping your posture, the shoulder blades, your hips are over your feet, your knees are unlocked, and your weight is towards the ball of the foot. Yeah? So keeping that posture in mind, we ran some floor drills, which included, first of all, pivoting. So pivoting is when you plant one foot down, and then you turn 180 degrees, or even less in some cases, or more, to plant on the other foot. And then you do it again, pivoting, sorry, and then you can pivot backwards. And now we're advancing on the camera. So pivoting, we did pivots across the floor, and the idea was to maintain posture throughout. So challenge yourself by milking it a little bit, milking it, instead of just trying to get there. After we did the pivots, we did sort of Shehnai Turns, or a traveling stepping through turn. And it's basically like the pivots, except we're not stopping in between every step. You're going to have a continuous motion. So you're going to step, and then step again, and then immediately step again, and then immediately step again. And a couple things to help you with that momentum. We talked about our arms kind of opening and closing. Yes, so if we step here, I would bring my left hand to meet my right, and open, close, open, close, open, close. Yes, and so if you put it all together, as a Shehnai turn, it goes open, close, open, close, open, close. We talked about spotting.
Yes, so a lot of you may be familiar with the concept of a very pure spot, where that head kind of whips around each time they turn, and it's very dramatic and extreme. For those of us who aren't very used to spotting or aren't used to spinning at all, this can be a little difficult, and it actually makes some of us more dizzy than not spotting. And so what you can also do is do a little bit of a softer spot, where you're still looking for somewhere, but you're not so fixated and so rigid about that one point. It's kind of, you do a more natural, as your shoulders come around, you generally look to that area. You can use your eyes a little bit more. And it's not quite as whippy. And that's okay. You kind of work up to what works for you when spotting.
Yeah. So we talked about how Shehnai turns, or these traveling single-step turns, are very common for follows. When they're being turned and they're being asked to move in one direction, you generally end up doing some sort of form of do, 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 do. Both follows and leads also have another common turn, and those are Charleston kick turns. If we're in sort of a hand-to-hand position here, sorry, I guess this isn't hand-to-hand, and we were to rock step and then go into free spins, we would both turn with Charleston kicks. So we worked on the footwork for that, which is basically, let's go this way. Going to be kicking in the direction that you're turning. Step, turn, kick with your other foot. Step, turn, wait. Kick, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick, step.
And we talked a bit about which way you should be turning. It makes the most sense generally if you're rock stepping on your left foot to go clockwise, and then if you're rock stepping off of your right foot to go counter. But either way, you kind of point your kicks toward the direction that you're going.
So for follows, it feels most natural for me to be rocking on my right because that's my usual rock step, but it's possible that he may make me rock on my left. Likewise, for leads, you're probably rocking your left most of the time. Okay, and then we did stationary turns. Sorry.
Note from class about our turns. One of the big things that we talked about was not getting our legs like outside of our weight when we're turning. But if you need to, go smaller and make sure that your center of gravity it's all in alignment, so you're not kind of reaching for that big step and then trying to collect into it, but rather you're just going nice and calm until you graduate to getting a little more ambitious.
Stationary turns, yes, stationary turns. So we talked about maintaining your posture once again here in doing a turn in space. For follows, what you want to be thinking about is that follow through, because you'll feel the rotation pretty easy enough, but the follow through will have direction if he wants you to travel with your turn, and it will curl in on itself if he wants you to stay where you are. So just a little tip for follows to be aware of those differences when you're being asked to turn. So then we both practiced stationary turns by prepping. You can prep on the right side here, and then turning. Oh, different ways that we can create turns though. Arms, you can make your arms from the shoulder, and you can make yourself turn.
Not from the elbows.
Not from the elbows. You can also use your legs. Without any arms, you can make yourself turn. You can also use oppositional forces, pushing off a partner to make a turn. For this class, we combined arms and legs to make a turn. So we were using our arms and a bit of the leg to make the turn around. And that was a terrible one. So one thing to know when you're practicing turns is that if you over-rotate, that's a failed turn. If you fall on your other leg instead of placing it down when you wanted to, it's a failed turn. So the idea is to maintain control of your speed and momentum and direction throughout the turn. So we did some practices where we did quarter turns, just small quarter turns, all the way around. And then we did half turns. Woo! That was bad. And then we did full turns. And then we did double turns.
Which I'm not going to try.
I kind of over-rotated there. So it's hard. It takes a lot of practice. But we hope that you use these as ways to practice your turns at home. So to recap, practice your Shehnai turns, the step, step, step through turns. Practice your Charleston kick turns. And practice your stationary turns in however many revolutions you want to do. And you can do it this direction, you can do it this direction. You can also do it this direction, and you can also do it this direction. Whew, that was a really bad one. So you can see there's actually 4 different ways that you can turn with this, which is kind of exciting. All right, so we hope that gives you an introduction to ways that you can think about your rotation and maintaining your cool throughout, and keep practicing. It will get less dizzy with time, promise. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.